Before we open the meeting, we'll have our normal prayer, so if you bow your heads, we'll offer the prayer. Lord, we thank you for this day that you blessed us with. Thank you for each and every one that's come out tonight, and I want to thank you, oh Lord, for this board that sits here, for the superintendent. And I'd ask you, oh Lord, that you would always give us guidance and do the right things. Help us to all that sit at this table to remember our number one priority is the students of this county. I'd ask you always lead us and guide us and protect each and every one from all harm and danger. We ask this in your name. Amen. Amen. Okay, this meeting will come to order. First is approval of the agenda. And if nobody has an objection to the agenda, we will consider it approved. Okay. First item is we'll turn this over to the superintendent, his election of board officers.
Okay. I'd like to call for nominations for, we start with chair or vice chair? Chair. For chairman of the board, is there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Matt Sharp as chairman.
Is there any other? Okay, a call to close the nominations. Go ahead and announce it. Okay. All right. This time, Matt Sharp is taking the chair, and
Does that mean we swap seats?
Yes, we swap seats. But you can't have my hammer. You have to keep you on now. Come on down. Sit at the end of the table.
Okay. I will make nominations for vice chair. I'd like to nominate Jeff Williams as vice chair. Do we have any other nominations?
I move to close nominations.
All right. I guess we vote on this now. Let's vote for vice chair. All in favor? I don't guess we did that, did we?
No,
well, I'll be like.
No other nominations.
Yes, we don't have to.
All right. First, I'd just like to thank thank Mr. Wooden for his 2 years on the board, and again, I hope he'll have the rest of the board have a little patience with me, like we've had with Mr. Wooden about directing the meeting. It'll take me probably a few meetings to get accustomed to directing the meeting, but I do appreciate what you've done, the leadership you've taken. I had a couple of new board members that came on. I know we asked a lot of questions of you, had a new superintendent. And so anyway, I appreciate what you've done.
Thank you.
I also like to welcome our new board member, Mr. Peppers. Mr. Peppers, I've known him for quite a while. He was the Crossville's elementary basketball and baseball coordinator for several years while I was at Sylvania, and got to know him really well. And I knew he was in good shape on that election. Either Mr. Peppers or Mr. Patton, both were excellent people, excellent gentlemen, and cared greatly about our community. I also met Mr. Taylor last week, and we had a good conversation. And we've had differences of opinion sometimes, but that I pledged to him that I'm going to work with him very well. We have some differences, but we're definitely going to work together for the betterment of the school system. With that having been said, do we have approval of the? You had a chance to read the minutes. Do we have approval of the October 23rd minutes?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Mr. Williams makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Richards seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. School financial statements and general fund bank reconciliation. Got a chance to look at those? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept these statement. We've got it in our packet.
Mr. Wood makes the motion.
Second.
Mr. Williams, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, the next is bills and accounts. You had a chance to look at the bills and accounts.
Make a motion, we approve.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, visitors and special programs.
Okay. We've got a special visitor tonight from Valley Head Community, Mr. Daniel Smith. Please come forward.
What I have just set in front of you is a proposal to hire a director and to restart the music program at Valley Head High School. First, let me kind of tell you from my point of view how the band program has been functioning these last years. In my 7th grade year at Valley Head High School, our band director was fired. In my 8th grade year at Valley Head High School, we hired a new band director, but he too was fired. In my 9th grade year at the band, we had a volunteer director, but she did not return on my 10th grade year, and in my 10th grade year, we did not have a band. In my junior and senior years of high school and freshman year of college, I have served as the volunteer band director for Valley Head High School. We are able to do this because my mother is a school employee and functions as our school sponsor as a bus driver. That's our way to do that. My overall goal is to have a band director hired back to Valley Head. I think we have a good potential for a program. We don't necessarily have one at the moment, but we definitely have the potential to be there. Some things that it can benefit the high school. An article published by the Ledger in 2013 states that students in music education average a GPA of 3.0 or higher. Similarly, students who do not participate in music education average a GPA of 2.6 or lower. Now, what this statistic kind of shows isn't that music education makes individuals smarter. It helps you think some, but that's not what it really does. Being in a band or a high school band, it gives you more drive to be at school. It gives you a reason to be there. It gives you a want to learn. And a lot of the students in a band program are individuals who, they have pretty awful home lives. They have horrible parent situations. There's different things going on, and that's where a lot of my students come from. The article goes on to state that students in music education go on to graduate with a diploma 94% of the time. Students not in music education tend to have a graduation rate of 70%. It is a huge benefit. It really helps people finish their education in high school. It can also be a great benefit for college. In my personal experience, I currently pay to go to Northeast through a scholarship with a course at the college. If it were not for the scholarship, it would be much more difficult for me to pay to go there. I can also state, while searching for scholarships, I have found many more music scholarships than of any other variety. There's academic, quiz bowl, athletic, etc., but music tends to have the largest field. The band program can also impact a school greatly and a community. Communities can form around a band program. Most individuals listen to music, they like music, and what a music program can do is it can really show the school's colors younger. It's a public statement of what that school is about. This can lead to things like more parent support for the school, new students, and better booster clubs and better parent-teacher organizations overall. The Tiger Champs Club at Valley Head is actually hosted and ran by many former Valley Head band alumni and parents of current band members. It can also be a benefit financially. We have run the program these past 3 years out of our own accounts from donations, fundraising, etc. It has proven that it can be self-sufficient and even profitable to a school. It's in the proposition I've given you. There should be a section about how it is financially applicable. Another point on the proposition, it has a list of the 4 things that I have been told are the main reasons we do not have the program, with the number 1 of those being lack of community support. We have here today several individuals in showing support for the Valley Band. I created a Facebook page to kind of see how much people like the idea of a band, etc. Within a week, we had over 100 likes for the page. We currently stand at 272 likes and growing. We have an estimated post reach of over 2,500 people. I've also been told that there was a lack of in-school support. I've had everyone from cheerleaders, the cheerleader instructors, football players, and many others say that we wish we still had a band program that could march on the field and be full. I've also been told that there's a lack of members. This I can understand. When I first started as the volunteer director, we had 5 members. We had, if I can remember correctly, 2 bass players, a snare drummer, a guitarist, and myself. I might have miscounted, I'm not quite sure. But in my second year, we had in between 15 and 20 members throughout the course of the year, after only 1 year of participation. This goes to show that the program can grow exponentially. We had an average of 20 members this year as well, and we can't teach things like brass or any of the winds currently. So if we add the winds and everything back in, there's almost sure to be a large number of individuals who would like to be in the band program.
Daniel, can I ask you a question? You said
Yes, sir.
you're volunteering as
Director. Yes, sir.
and does Valley Head have a band that plays during football games and that kind of thing?
We play at the football games, but we don't play on the field. We sit in the stands and play games.
Did you say you got around 20 members?
Roughly, yes, sir. The number changes a lot. We have new people join. We have other members move on to other things, but roughly 20.
Just how the other schools have band directors?
You just have to have some sort of musical background with education attached to that. We just hired one at Ider, and what did we do as far as?
It's one of the state art units, and there is a specific certification required by the State Board of
Does
Education.
Valley's Head still have a unit available for a band director?
They actually lost 2 teacher units this year. We didn't have anybody non-teaching.
Is there a music teacher or anything like that at Valley Head now?
Can you be more specific?
Well, I guess someone who might otherwise act as the band director.
As a band director, there are several individuals who like to volunteer. There's one individual I'd like to nominate for the candidate. The problem is he's not a particularly wealthy individual. He writes and composes music for various groups across the country. Some of his groups have went on to state level recognition or national level recognition. He has a degree in both music and English, so he can teach 2 separate subjects if need be. He currently functions as a substitute teacher in the area. His name is Robert Lee Worthy.
So basically at Valley Head, we would have to have, if we had a full-time person, it would have to be one of the current.
Have you talked to the principal about this? Is he good with this?
I talked to him some. He's actually, Mr. Munro, are you here? I've talked to him slightly. He said I should speak to the superintendent and the Board of Education. So that's why I'm here.
And it's not a separate state-funded thing, it's just like a teacher.
Teacher,
one
like
teacher.
a band director.
Okay.
Also, the individual who I would like to recommend for the position has told me that he would be very willing to start off as substitute teacher pay for his first year.
Well, you've done a good job explaining this, I'll give you that. I totally understand what this young man is explaining to us, and if it ever comes possible that we can do something, I would love to do it, because I've been involved in music all my life, and you get something out of that, and I'm not saying this other stuff is not important, but you get something out of that that's going to be lifelong with you. You get something out of football that helps you learn to, I guess, get along with everybody or either fight with them one. But very few people uses that the rest of their life after they get out of school. Now, there is some that does, and the ones that does, they do very well with it. But the percentage is very small, and the percentage of people that learns music is real high that use some part of that the rest of their life. And if it ever becomes to where we can, I would love to do it. Our other high schools has bands. I wish we had the money that every school had a course to learn them how to sing. I mean, there's so many of the young folks now. They have to listen to this canned music all the time. They can't make none themselves, and they ought to know how to sing. But that's Terry's opinion. So,
You could be the teacher.
I could.
Does anybody else have any questions for Mr.
If I may
Tappers?
add, it's funny you should mention a chorus, because this past year we have started a tentative chorus that we plan to continue along with the band program if we can.
Good. Well, Daniel, we appreciate you coming, and I think this is something maybe we could possibly look at maybe on a more of a part-time contractual type situation as opposed to full-time, because we don't have any units available. But appreciate you coming, your concern. Thank you. Appreciate it,
Daniel.
Any more questions from any of the board members or anyone? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Tappers, we have some early graduation applicants.
Yeah, we have unbelievable 5 at one school. I'd like to just talk for just a second that there's 5 students there at Geraldine High School: Velia Medeiros, Mackenzie McCreelis, Cody Maddox, Leslie Guevara, Alexis Mitchell. I'm sorry if I butchered that up, if I didn't say it correctly. Just real quickly, these students are on course pending the earned credits for this semester to graduate by this fall. And some's already gaining college credits, and some of them already have jobs. And they've really pushed themselves, went above and beyond what some of their peers have. There was 5 criteria for them to be able to be able to apply and do this. And one is that they have to write a formal letter to the central office and explain why they would want to do this, and they have to create a 5-year plan with that, and there has to be evidence of some sort of continuing education, and then a parent letter that the parent's going to be okay with this, and then there has to be a principal recommendation. So we use the school as a resource to make sure that we're having some accountability with that. But these folks have come through with flying colors. They have met all the criteria, and I'd like to recommend these folks that we accept them for early graduation.
Are they here? Yep. The students here, could y'all stand?
Yep.
And this will be after this semester.
After this semester.
That's great. I don't know if that's because of Mr. Strait that y'all want to get leave him or
not. It's not.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion, and I'm proud of it. Appreciate it.
We have a second.
Second.
All right. Mr. Richards made the motion. Mr. Wood made the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you, girls.
Thank you. Congratulations.
All right. Next we have leaves of absence.
Okay. Y'all like to do this as a group?
Yes, do.
Okay, all right. I'd like to recommend the following leaves of absence: Emily Moore, Secondary Science, Crossville High; April Phillips, Nurse, DeKalb County Tech Center; Angela Bailey, Bus Aide, 5 Special Services; Gina Bullard, CMP Worker, Plainview; Melanie Coffey, Intervention Teacher, Crossville Middle; Andrea Stevens, Health Science Instructor, DeKalb County Tech Center; and Teresa Payne, CMP Manager, Sylvania.
All right. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept these leaves of absence.
Second.
Have a motion, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. We have on-the-job injuries.
Okay. I'd like to recommend that we grant on-the-job injury to Ms. Michelle Kinser, CMP Assistant Manager, Moon Lake, and Ms. Pam Deere, Elementary Teacher, Geraldine.
All right, you've heard the recommendation. Do we have a motion?
make the motion.
Mr. Richards made the
I'll
motion.
second.
Mr. Pepper, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion passes. Resignations.
Okay, we have two. Brian Sexton, bus driver, Crossville, resignation, did not accept the position last month. And then George Bolden, secondary science teacher, Crossville High, retirement.
All right, you've heard the motion on these. Gentlemen, we have a motion.
Make a motion.
Mr. Williams made a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Richards, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Transfers.
We have one tonight. I'd like to recommend Miss Amy Dyer, business ed teacher, to the library media specialist at Crossville High.
All right, gentlemen, we have a motion. Heard the recommendation.
I move we accept the recommendation.
Second.
Mr. Wood made the motion. Mr. Pepper, second. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Placements, let's just do those individually.
Okay. As far as placements go, all placements are made pending a background review meeting suitability criteria and negative pre-employment drug screening. I'd like to recommend Miss Megan Jones, business ed teacher at Crossville High.
All right, we've heard the motion, heard the recommendation, have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Mr. Peppers made the motion, have a second.
Second.
Mr. Williams, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it.
I'd like to recommend Miss Leslie Gerard, bus driver at Crossville.
All right, you've heard the recommendation, do you have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Williams made the motion, Mr. Peppers, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Let the record show that Mr. Sharp, Mr. Williams, Mr. Peppers, and Mr. Richards are voting in favor. Mr. Wooten opposed. All right, next. Motion passes.
I'd like to recommend Miss Rita Tharp, junior high assistant CMP manager, Ruhaman.
All right, we have a motion.
Make a motion.
Mr. Williams made a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Richards, second. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
I'd like to recommend Miss Misty Wright, assistant 7-hour custodian, Collinsville.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move we accept the recommendation.
Mr. Wooten makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Pepper, second. Do we have any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
I'd like to recommend Jesse Tatum, special ed bus aide, itinerant hider.
All right, you've heard the recommendation. Have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Richards makes the motion. We have a second.
Second.
Mr. Williams, second. Do we have any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Coach supplements, I'd like to recommend Coach Heath Thrash for head boys basketball, B team, and assistant boys basketball 5.
All right, you've heard the recommendation. We have a motion.
I so move.
Mr. Wooten moves. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? No second? Motion fails, lack of a second motion.
Okay. Real quickly, before we get started under superintendent recommendations, I'd like for Jonathan Phillips to stand up for just a minute. He sent me an email this week, and the guys at the tech school are always working toward something great, and he informed me of something that had happened this past week, and I very impromptu asked him to stand up tonight and give us the good news and share it with the rest of the community.
We've had a great opportunity. We've been blessed at the DeKalb Tech Center. Have this opportunity with Camtech. They're out of Birmingham. They produce auto parts for Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz. They've joined us in a partnership. They provided us with 2 industrial-sized robots that are brand new, list around $250,000. It's going to give our students the opportunity to stay on the cutting edge. We're going to work with Northeast in a partnership to hopefully establish apprenticeship with the company. Our students can go in there and get this hands-on learning, which will use after they finish their 2 years of school, have six-figure jobs. They'll start out at $100,000, $150,000 a year with that training. It's huge for our area. We're one of the few in North Alabama that can offer an industrial programming and training to prepare these students for these jobs of the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board.
Well, great. That's something that each school coming into the tech school will be able to take advantage of. And I was just tickled to be able to get that news. Then we have salary schedule changes for substitute classroom teachers and substitute technical school instructors. We had to lay that on the table for 30 days, and it's been 26. This is about paying our substitutes more money, and I'd like to ask that we recommend we suspend the rules for the 30 days to be able to go ahead and get this knocked out, or it'll be January before we get this taken care of.
Could you discuss the changes? How much was the change? Let everybody know that.
Well, I have the exact figures as far as changes. What was that, 10? I have those down before we get later on the table.
You have that, Brian?
It's that long. It's
the
the
long.
long.
Oh, 10
Change
legal
it.
side. Okay.
What was it before?
Yeah, it was
75.
50, 75, and it's going to 56, 25?
Yes.
That's on the 1 to 2 year.
That's right. The other one was.
Okay, and on the certified, it's going from what?
53 even.
58, 79.
So I just recommend tonight that we go ahead and suspend the rules. We do have 4 days, but if we don't have a meeting in December, this could cause people not to benefit from it between now and Christmas.
Once you've heard the recommendation, Mr. Tyler, to suspend the rules and go ahead with the salary schedule, we have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
All right, Mr. Williams made a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, second. Do we have any discussion?
Is this, something we had at the work session was about the bus, substitute bus drivers. Is that something we might look into later to increase that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion passes.
Okay. I'd like to recommend that we accept the salary schedule changes to the substitute classroom teachers and substitute technical school instructors now.
All right, we have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Wood moves, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Richards, second. All those, any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Okay, if you'll look at item 10B now, this is contracts. Due to some things that have come up previously, we're looking at policy. Contracts are needing to be approved by the board, so looking at that, we're trying to realign ourselves with the policy. So
Just go on by, we'll vote on them section by section.
right, that'll be fine. Mr. Cooper and his department were able to give us an Excel spreadsheet which is laid out to be able to explain to us the nature of the contract and the duties that are attached to it. Some of these programs and services are required by law, like homebound services and special ed, some of the things that we do. But I'll start with just the first group, which is homebound. Say there's A through G there. I'd like to recommend that we accept those contracts.
All right, you've heard the recommendation, we have a motion.
Make a motion.
Mr. Richards makes a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Mr. Wood makes a second, do we have any discussion? Could you explain kind of what that is, the homebound services, so that we understand what we're...
It's kids that could have possibly, are not able to come to regular school. It could be for pregnancy, it could be for an accident or sickness or illness, those types of things. Something would keep them from being able to come to and stay through a regular school day.
So I noticed that some of them were special education funds and some of them were local. I guess if they're special ed students, then special education would take it
This
out.
can here. Would you care just maybe to speak maybe on that? Just some further explanation?
We do have some students who are in special education that do require home-health services for various reasons. We have some children who are medically so fragile that they're not able to come to school. Then we do have some students who behaviorally are not able to come to school. But, so that's the special education part. We do have some contract work for testing of our students. We've gotten behind with that, so we do have some contract work for that. But as far as homebound, just our general ed students, our policy says that they need to be out at least 6 weeks. If it's a 504 student, then we can relax that just a little bit because of the 504 plan. But we always require a doctor's excuse of some sort.
Right.
Any other questions?
It's very important.
Very important.
Matt, I want to add just a personal experience on that. I think when my son was either like 5th grade, somewhere in there, he had heart surgery, and he couldn't attend school for a few weeks after that, and they did the homebound, and you know, it's very important that this be done, and you know, me and my family appreciated it because it was available for us, because you know, he couldn't go to school.
All contracts have to be approved by the board, and our policy says that they're supposed to be signed by the chairperson. I know we haven't necessarily done that, but that, when we do them in the future, we'll do it that way. Okay, we've had a motion, second, we've had discussion. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
The next section is special ed. If you'll look through H through Q, you see occupational therapy, physical therapy, psychometry testing, audiological, which is hearing, IQ testing, those types of things. There's several items there, the services that we have to provide or that help us along the way as we educate the children. I'd like to recommend that we accept those contracts.
And all those are paid through the special education program. All right, we have a motion to approve these contracts for special education.
I move we approve these.
Mr. Wood makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Richards, second. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Okay.
School nurse subs.
School nurse subs, we have been having a contract with them, and due to the constraints that will be coming after January 1, we're going to end those contracts at the end of this semester, and we have, gentlemen, you have approved and a salary schedule for the subs, for the school nurses, I think, last meeting. So these contracts will just extend through the end of this year, and then we'll turn over and then use a salary schedule. So this subsection right here will not exist after January 1. So I'd like to recommend we accept those.
All right, you've heard the recommendation. We have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Richards makes a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, second. Do we have any discussion?
So we're just going to relate back to the subs then instead of contract.
In January, right?
Yes.
Right. This Affordable Health Care Act, there's fines that come with contracts and so many hours that they work and things. So in lieu of trying to fix some of that, we've got ASOP and some other stuff that's coming, and we're trying to get away from contracts as much as we can.
All right. Anybody else have a discussion? All right, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Federal program.
Okay, federal programs, you'll see, these are all titled federal dollars. You see the 21st Century Program, those are grants that's been written. Those positions, the ESL tutors. The tutors serve those kids 90% through the classroom, and those for English as a second language. A lot of times those are pulled out during English class to be able to tutor those children to help them acquire the English skills that they need. You also see the McKinney-Vento advocate. That's our homeless liaison that helps coordinate through counselors with kids or children or families that may be homeless. So I'd like to move that we recommend that we approve these federal programs contracts.
All right, we have a motion.
I make the motion.
Mr. Richards makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Pepper, second. Any discussion about these programs?
Gotta have it.
All right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Do these individuals.
Okay. I'd like to recommend accepting the contract with Tyler Hughes. He's a computer tech and works in our technology department.
How much is that per year? Or do that? What's the length of the contract? 4 months? 5 months?
Yeah, we've got that made until December 31st.
All right. Do we have a motion on his recommendation? Mr. Whitman's make a motion. We have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Well, I've heard good things about this kid.
Yeah, I have.
Does good work, hard worker.
He's about to graduate from school with a technology degree. It'd be someone we'd love to keep on staff at some point.
That's great.
Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Okay. I'd like to recommend accepting the contract for our robotics instructor at the Tech Center, Mr. Gary Holslander.
Let's get you on there. You've heard the recommendation. We have a motion on this contract.
I move we accept the recommendation.
Mr. Whitman makes the motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Richards, second. Do we have any discussion?
Is this the guy, not good with names, is this the,
He's one that
came to demonstrate
Yeah.
it? Oh, yeah, he's great. His heart's in it too, and that's means a lot.
What is that? How much is that contract for? Do you know? Offhand? This first semester. I know
It's a little bit less than, well, first semester is $3,800.
Can't beat that.
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
I'd like to recommend the contract of our bus driver, safety trainer. It's funded through state transportation, and this is Miss Becky Graham, our transportation supervisor's recommendation, Mr. Mike Napper.
Could Becky, is she
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
Could you talk to us about that a little bit?
In the past, we've always used mechanics to do our bus driver training. We're running at bare minimum on mechanics right now. And our new driver classes have been being the first week in August, which is typically the week that school starts. Well, this summer we have all buses on the bus lot, and we're trying to get all the summer inspections done. The state inspector's there doing the inspections. There's nobody there to finish our drivers up and get them ready for classes. We can't turn loose with a mechanic. Also, if you get somebody that likes what they're doing, enjoys the training, mechanic that did most of our training and did the best job at it retired. And so Mr. Napper is doing a great job. He's enthusiastic, he likes it, and he's doing a good job. And he can also work his schedule around most of the trainees, the new trainees, their schedule. He drives his route during the day, but he can come and work an hour or two at a time with them. Mr. Taylor has worked out that we can use the parking lot at the Civic Center to do our training now, which is great. But it's inconvenient for a mechanic. You know, we need our mechanics to work on buses instead of training drivers. But we did our last class, all of our subs, and I just got a text a few minutes ago from somebody who used one of our subs on an extra trip because it was during the day when a regular driver couldn't do it. And she was just bragging on how professional and how well that sub did. And I've heard that on more than one of our new subs. So I'm excited that we're getting better trained drivers because of this. So it's just a great benefit for us.
Can we go ahead and ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead and ask questions.
So, all the mechanics are glad and relieved that they don't have to do this now? Because
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I haven't asked them individually if they're happy with that or if they're
Yeah.
not.
Is there any kind of requirement that these people has to have to do this?
Yes, the State Department requires you go through the trainer class that the state trainer trains the drivers. Because they want consistency throughout the state. They want all of the bus drivers to be trained alike.
So if a mechanic was to do it, would the mechanic get any extra pay for doing it?
No.
Okay. So
No.
they just have
And
to
it would
quit
have to
working?
be done during that mechanic's work hours.
Right.
To keep from having to pay them comp time.
So if he was working on a bus and he'd have to pull off and do that and then go back to working on
Honestly, in the past, we have scheduled new drivers to come in and be trained, and they would get there, and we might have mechanics out sick, and we might have a bus that they were all working on, and we'd say, I'm sorry, I don't have anybody to work with you today, you'll have to come back.
Yeah.
I really don't like that, because people take time, we give them an appointment, they come in, and they need to be able to,
So it's working out better this way than the other way by far?
yes, by far, we're getting much better trained drivers because of it.
The only question, I guess, and this may go back to Brian and Mr. Taylor, is, and I'm looking at our policy manual. This is the one we printed out. I'm not sure if this is the one, I don't think this is the one we've got on, but it's been necessarily approved. But I was looking here at a couple of areas, and it says in K and L, and this is in payroll procedures 3.9.2, it says, no employees to be paid a salary that does not appear on the board-approved salary schedule. Inclusion in the project is not sufficient if not specified as a new salary or additional employee advertised and approved by the board as such. It also says no changes in salaries, titles, or hours per day work shall be made without first advertising and obtaining recommendation of superintendent approval of the board. That, when I read over that, it made me think that since Mr. Napier is a current employee, would that apply as something that would need to be posted? Since it would be I think it was what, $300 per week would be a maximum. Is that correct? So I don't know what his pay had been through that. Do you know, Mr. Cooper, if he's got much on that at all through this?
I would say, I can guess, I would say he worked probably this summer, roughly 3 weeks. Is that a close estimate?
Sounds about right.
During the summertime.
During the summertime, when he wasn't working his bus driver job, he can't work more than 40 hours in a week, including his bus driver job and this.
Close estimate, I would say since 1st of June, he's probably made $1,500. Now, don't hold me to that or something like that, because I was trying to think of the time he's worked. He's probably put in 4 to 5 weeks' time. Now, I know the contract said a maximum $300 per week.
And it's a 5-month. It's through December 31st, is that correct?
Yes, sir, correct. Right.
But you've heard the record. Let's go ahead and see if we've got a motion on this issue. We have a motion?
All right, I'll make a motion, so if somebody else got some questions.
Correct. Mr. Woodton makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Mr. Richards, second.
Yeah.
Okay, any more discussion on this issue?
What are you saying that this should have been posted?
I'm questioning whether maybe it should have. I know we're kind of, the horse is out of the barn, so to speak, on this one. We're through December 31st. Is that correct on this one?
Yes. Could we, if there's questions about the posting, could we go ahead and get through December and then post the job?
I think we'd need to look
We
at
need to
that,
do
and I
that.
don't know if, we may talk with the, do y'all have any comments on that, if that's something?
Go ahead, Sheila.
Yes, according to the policy, it is supposed to be posted along with, since it's an employee of the board, that falls under the state guidelines of posting, even if you're adding to their job. And I guess the biggest complaint I've heard about that contract is other bus drivers have said, well, I might have wanted to do that, but I wasn't given the opportunity. So that's the comment from us.
Any other discussion?
Question. So would this apply with coaching duties as well?
Could, yeah.
Could this apply to homebound teachers also?
That's a
good
Yeah.
If they're an employee, I think the answer is yes.
We typically have a different contract. Mr. Cooper can explain that more, I'm sure, but we typically have a different contract for an employee of the board than a person that's not employed by the board. So I don't know if that covers anything or not.
Some of those work the homebound work teachers, and we're talking about a small percentage maybe. This could be a pretty substantial amount compared to a bus driver's normal pay. We could be looking, I mean, as much as maybe what their actual pay is for a year, possibly, if they work that much. So that's the reason it's kind of an issue.
Another area which we're just receiving these contracts now, and as you know, these contracts is fluid, so I'll have more next board meeting. It's like 21st century after school program.
Right.
A lot of times our 21st century director kind of ask among that school, because usually you don't want to drive from another school, you don't have time because it starts right after. You know, they'll ask and get 4 or 5 that would like to participate. That might be something to consider in this policy. Would that have to be posted?
It's definitely something we need to look at that. If we're going to follow the policy, we need to follow the policy or change the policy. So that's what the policy says. But any other discussion?
I'm gonna vote for it, but I think in December we need to revisit it and if we need to post it, get it done.
Okay. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
I'd like to recommend, we've got a retired teacher who's been filling in as science instructor at Crossville High. I'd like to recommend Mr. Kelly Colvin, contract to expire in December.
All right, you've heard the recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Peppers makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Williams, second. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries.
I'd like to recommend Mr. Bruce Shores for a contract to oversee preventative maintenance, to be paid quarterly, and you see the expiration date is in September.
Is Mr. Butts,
Yeah.
you want to just talk about this a little bit?
I've been around.
Come up here where we can hear you.
I've been around most all the schools so far. It seems to cut down on a lot of the small stuff being called in, and that in turn prevents us to have to do a lot of traveling from school to school so much. They usually go to a school and stay there maybe a day, sometimes 2 days, according to how much stuff they've got, and fixing a lot of the small stuff. And that allows us to pick up in it, to keep my employees in one area all day long, instead of having to go here and there, just kissing a lot of small stuff.
So they go to a school and they stay there till they get done
They
what needs
stay
to be
there
done?
until the principal
Says they're done.
has no more things to be done, that they're capable of doing.
So the teaching's working out fine?
Yes, I think it works out well.
One question I've got is, of course, this contract here will be for 12 months. It would be, basically, it's a supplement, I guess you could call it, every quarter of $2,500, so that's a $10,000 increase in his pay. And, which again, I think that would definitely fall under this. I don't feel quite as comfortable on this one. I feel slightly less, or slightly more comfortable with Mr. Napier's, but this one I don't feel very comfortable with it.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, call for a motion in a second.
Okay.
Because there's something I'd like
Sure.
to say, but I think that'd be the.
Well, let's go ahead, let's call for, do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
Mr. Richards' motion, is there a second?
I'll make a second.
All right, let's any discussion?
Okay, my comment is, I don't know if, I don't remember if I've talked to any of y'all or not. I talked to superintendent. And in that new book you got right there, I don't know if the preventive maintenance is still in there or not, but it used to be.
I think so, I've read through it.
And I think that is a great idea. I think it can save a lot of chasing up and down the road. But here's my problem. They are doing the same work as they would if they was going to Ider and fixing something, then going somewhere else and fixing something else and then going somewhere else. They're not doing any different work. The thing about it is, if they go to one school and they do all these things that needs to be doing at that school, they're not running up and down the road. I think that's a good idea. But they're not doing anything that's outside of their normal work, so I don't think there should be any extra pay. That's just the way I see it.
They're basically not, what you're saying is they're not working any extra hours to get this.
Not the way I understand it. Is that right, Rick?
It's all within their normal day.
Better explain the salary, I don't know.
No, well, no, we're asking, they're not doing any work that they normally wouldn't do if we wasn't doing this preventive
The
maintenance.
way I understand it, the contract is for one person, which is Bruce Shores, right?
That's right.
And he does supervise 2 people now. He will be supervising 2 people in this.
Okay.
But he can only work 40 hours a week.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
And
There's no
he's-
more hours.
Right, he's got this contract, but we didn't increase his hours.
Yes, sir. The only thing you increased was, he will be supervising 2 people.
Good, gotcha. But let me, and I shared this with Mr. Taylor. I totally agree with the preventive maintenance. I think that's a good idea. Send 2, ever how many is available to whatever school, and let the principal say, okay, y'all need to do this, this, and this while you're here. And when they get all that done, send them to another school and let them do that. I totally agree with that, but I have a little problem with giving extra money and them doing what they're supposed to be doing anyway.
Any other discussion? Now, is the 2 employees, who are the 2 employees you supervise?
Give me a call, Angel.
Yeah.
Ray Evans, Barry Buster.
Okay, now both of those, as I understand, are both supervisors, is that correct?
I don't know how they're classified now.
They're both getting supervisor pay.
Good. Well, I know one, but I didn't know the other.
Well, both of them are getting considerably more than, and I can understand from Mr. Shore's standpoint that if he's supervising 2 people that's making more money than him, that's a problem. But if they're both supervisor pay, I've got a problem with increasing another supervisor. But, that's just my opinion. Do we have any other discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Richards, aye. Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Everyone else nay. Mr. Richards, 4. Motion is not passed. Next item.
Got one more contract, and it's with Mr. Lynn Fortenberry. It's for agricultural usage of a Crosswell Elementary property, and he's keeping it up so we don't have to keep the bush on it.
Yeah.
He's just using it. It's not close to the school, and he's keeping things sowed down. I think he's keeping plants going on it, so it's actually helping us and keeping it from growing up and being an eyesore to the community. So I'd like to accept this, recommend this contract.
That's a great use. Do we have a motion? Mr. Peppers, this is in your district.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Peppers makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second. There's no
Mr.
pressure.
Williams, second. Any discussion? Those in favor say?
Use this, the property down there at the new school. I know there's
Yes, sir.
several acres.
Yes, sir.
And what, does anybody know, are they farming that, or just, is it like grassland, or maybe cutting hay off
He's
of
cutting
it?
hay, I think. Is that right, Rick?
Yeah, he hadn't sown it yet. He was, I think he's gonna sow it in the spring.
Oh, okay.
And, but right now he's getting it shaped back up for hay.
But
And he's
it-
gonna sow it down, he's gonna cut for hay.
Okay, so it will be grass.
He does have an understanding that he's not supposed to come in and out on the grounds during the
Yeah.
city route.
Well, I like that idea a lot better, and because I've been a farmer all my life, but, the chemicals that's used now, I'd rather be in grass and in something else where, it's sprayed and all that.
Any other discussion? All right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
One item that I just thought of while we were talking is the land at Ider for the storm shelter. If y'all had much thought on that, we want to sell that piece of property. Probably would take, Ricky, would we have to have that land resurveyed?
I'm not sure, I would think so.
Yeah.
Us or maybe them, if they're going, are you selling it, or?
Probably, or you want to sell the whole
We'll
lot?
work out with the deal with them.
Let's do extra crossing by itself, let me go with that.
Wasn't the town of Ider supposed to get back with y'all when they, wasn't it like just over 95% sure they wanted it? I don't.
Well, they was gonna, you know,
Make
keep
sure they
working
could get
on
the
the
grant,
grant
yeah.
and all that. And, you know, it's been too long since I looked at the map, so I don't know if it's 1.9 acres or 2.3, but it's a very small spot. But, and I know we don't have a motion in a second, but I'm gonna throw this out there to you. It's no use to us, I mean, to the school system, because of where it's at. And I said in the last meeting, you know, I was in favor of them getting it, but I didn't want to give it to them. So, we got some schools that need some computers and some, so if we could work out some kind of deal that we could sell it to them for $10 and let them buy something that Ider needs.
Well, about sure. I was
Not-
comparing Geraldine and
not-
Five.
Not Geraldine and Five, I'm talking about something that Ider needs. But y'all think about that.
Ricky, how much does a survey cost?
I think I could
$300 or
probably get
$400?
that done for $500 or
Okay.
somewhere in that range. For a small
Would y'all be
one.
okay for me to go ahead
Personally, I
and give it
would-
okay
I'm
to
good with-
survey it?
Good with having the property.
Because that'll have to be done regardless.
Do we have a motion on that, have doing the survey?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Richards makes a motion, have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Pepper, second. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes, do the survey.
All right. Ricky, will you take care of that?
I will.
Okay, thank you. Okay, just a couple of quick things. I'd like to ask for permission to place for open positions pending board approval. There's going to be a couple of potential retirements we're expecting in Crossville, and we had a meeting and talked about attendance again, so fishing for maybe a new supervisor's position that might possibly be posted. So I'd like to ask for permission pending approval for those positions.
You'd let us know about that?
Absolutely.
If you don't mind, email.
I would.
I move we do that.
Mr. Wood makes a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Mr. Williams, second. Do we have any discussion? All right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Okay. Just recently, by law, we've had to create a data governance committee, and from what I understand, this committee will be in charge of deciding how we're going to control our data here locally. One, for instance, that was given to me is there's memory on a copy machine, and we lease those copy machines, and if we allow one to go back, we've got to create a way to handle that data that would be on there and come to some agreements. And I think we've got a couple of examples to go by. This is a new thing that's been created by the state, but these are the folks that we have selected to help support this committee and to help deal with the data governance and build a plan. I'd like to recommend those folks.
All right, you see the list, it's the last page. Do we have a motion? Mr. Wood makes a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Williams makes a second. Do we have any discussion about this committee? All right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Before we get to the DEA and ESPO folks, a couple of things that I'd like to do, maybe we haven't done before. One thing that our policy requires is a board self-evaluation and setting goals and that kind of thing. And what I'd like to do is between now and the next meeting, we've got a couple of months to our next meeting, is I'd like to ask each of our board members to come up with maybe top 3 goals that you would like to see for our system over the next couple of years, and email that to me, and I'd like to have a little discussion about that. I'd like to also, at the end of each agenda, maybe in this area here, after superintendent, before for the DEA and ESPO, and have a comments area for board members. Maybe through the meeting, there may be things that come to our mind that maybe we want to bring up. And then also, something that I think would be helpful to me is to have maybe each meeting maybe have a supervisor or a principal, someone present, especially some of our supervisors. We have a lot of supervisors, and we don't necessarily know what all they do. And I think it would be educational for us to have one of those address us at each meeting. Just a short presentation. Just let us know what's going on. We hear from Jonathan a good bit. He's always here and does a great job, but a lot of other places we don't hear from. And so I think it would be good for the public and for the board members to hear from those folks. Yeah, y'all have anything today?
I would just like to say thank you for giving me an opportunity, but I would like to say thank you for the contracts on ESL tutors. I work with those students at Crossville, and that's something that we desperately needed. I have 18 to 20 kids in a class at a time that I work with, and the tutor that I have now is wonderful. Also, thank y'all for meeting with us on the work session. That was a
great.
Good time,
That was the best one.
and I feel like we got a lot done there. And thank you for the substitute.
Because you wasn't there, that's exactly right.
Thank you for the substitute teacher pay increase. Hopefully that'll help with the problem that we're having of having enough substitutes and things like that. That'll give us some incentive maybe for more to come in. But that's all I have. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate you. ESPO, do you have anything to say?
Yes, I have several items, thank you. First of all, I appreciate y'all meeting with us for the work session. Mr. Wooten, we're sorry you missed it. I know you didn't want to come, but we brought you something anyway.
Thank you.
We set it in your old seat.
Okay.
There's a blackberry cobbler and it's spilling out, so be very careful.
All right.
Matt,
I said it's old seat.
We're gonna sample all that after.
And also, y'all haven't had any time or haven't had opportunity to check on the situation at Collinsville. Because it's getting worse. Bus drivers are having to sit 30 minutes getting that situation. And also, you know, that's not good. We're not supposed to run our buses that long. You can't sit there and let them run for 30 minutes waiting on somebody to come lock them up.
It's just cold, you're going to sit and let it run.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you are, but you're not supposed to, okay? And also, ESPO, if superintendent is willing to get keys, ESPO will pay for the keys for the drivers to have. And then also, on this salary schedule you have for the category XE for a bus driver A, you still have for the split for the driver, $40 for a bus driver to drive. That's my job. And when I have a sub, they deserve $50 just like a regular driver. And that needs to be addressed too, please.
What's something we talked about earlier, maybe from board session. We talked to Dr. Barnett about that tonight, just back here, and he's going to look into it.
Okay. But like I said, if the superintendent gets keys made, ESPO will pay for them. That's, thank you.
All right, anything else? Our next meeting will be January the 15th, 5 p.m. here. Do we have a motion to adjourn? I'll let Mr. Wooden, this one time I'll let Mr.
Okay, because on the agenda, we didn't have on this one, you know, you didn't ask for spots for board members, so I want to slip in if I may. I got just a couple things to say. To ESPO and DEA, most of you know why I wasn't there, because out of all the years I've been on the board, I never missed one because I always had a ball. But I was sick, so sorry about that, and maybe next year I'll, and I had a shot and I was hyper, and my wife said I was ill, but I wasn't ill, I was hyper, she was ill. Anyway, I'm sure sorry I missed the meeting. And one thing to Mr. Matt, he wanted us for 3 things that we like, and I done wrote mine down, so I'm just gonna tell you so I won't have to send you an email, because I'm not good at that. My 3 things is Jim at Ider, Jim at Ider, Jim at Ider.
I'll change his tune on that.
That's all, thank y'all.
I got you. All right, motion to adjourn.
I'm moving.
Mr. Wood. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.